Good evening and welcome to the Blueprint Explosive Exclusive. I'm Madhavdas G. Viewers, when the new income tax bill was tabled in Parliament, the government said that it's all about simplifying tax law and tax jargon. But the bill also carried a provision that gives sweeping powers to tax authorities to dig through emails, trading accounts, social media profiles and more during tax investigations. Starting the 1st of April 2026, the Income Tax Department will have the authority to access digital virtual spaces to curb tax evasion. This will also include search and seizure powers over your assets and documents, which are not just in the physical space. This has raised major privacy concerns about the kind of online access that the taxman will get to your accounts as well. Let's take a look at some of the provisions and why the new IT bill has sparked concerns. Now, clearly, this is to be implemented or proposed to be implemented effective the 1st of April 2026. What the officers say is, and what they can access, that's been said, is social media accounts, emails, and other digital spaces as well. This is, of course, as far as what can be accessed by the officers are concerned. Now, if there is an authorized officer who suspects that you have evaded income tax, in that situation, all of these can be accessed, and they can also suspect that you have undisclosed income, money or assets which are being spoken about perhaps in these forms of communication is also something that is being looked at. So this is, of course, what we're talking about. We have our reporters Bhavtosh joining us as well as Pragya. Bhavtosh, we've already seen a lot of concerns that have been expressed on social media by several, including the entrepreneurs such as Madhavdas G, who have come out to say that this could lead to massive concerns as far as privacy of individuals that could be breached if these permissions are granted. What exactly are the provisions of the law that is being proposed?
Madhav, section or clause 247 of the new IT bill in fact allows authorized officials or officers to access one's social media account. Now, what is virtual digital space? Now, what this bill says that virtual digital space is computer technology which is not covered by the physical space. Now, it allows any official to access your social media account. It allows a person's bank accounts which are through apps, and also an individual email through servers, and also an individual's emails, bank accounts, anything that he feels or she feels is leading to undisclosed income. Now, what it actually means is that because you are not only checking one's bank lockers or their properties, it says that any area that is not covered by the physical space, then computer technology, the areas that are covered by computer technology, those areas can be covered. Now, what is computer technology? Computer technology means that email servers can be covered, bank accounts can be covered, social media accounts can be covered. It actually, what the sources have said, that technology has changed. People are in fact keeping their money in different bank accounts through apps. They are in fact dealing with emails, and this allows an income tax official.
Clearly, of course, social media accounts, email accounts are amongst those areas where there will be in fact legal ability for them to actually come in. I'm going to come across to Pragya as well, who has been tracking the story very closely. Let's quickly look at some of the concerns that have been expressed. Now, the potential state overreach is one of the concerns that has been expressed by those opposed to these provisions. They also say that this allows for unrestricted surveillance that could take place on part of the taxman. The third concern is the risk of becoming a tool for arbitrary scrutiny is another concern that is being spoken about in terms of these provisions, which, mind you, are not yet the law. It is, of course, in the process of parliamentary consideration, but will it see the light of day is a very important concern. Let me go across to Pragya. Pragya, what are your sources in government telling you as far as this particular concern that has been expressed? It is overreach, and is it a violation of privacy is some of the questions that are being posed on social media. What are your sources telling you in terms of whether these are real concerns and how they hope to address them?
Well, Madhav, the sources are saying, first of all, this is a proposal and the bill is with the select committee. So they have every right to discuss and to explain, and also to ask explanation from the government whether there are safeguards in place or not. Secondly, government is saying if there is any honest man he doesn't have to fear about it. The officials will use this provision only when they have ample proof and reason of tax evasion. There are already regulations in place where authorities have already done that, and authorities can override your privacy in case of financial crimes if they are investigating it. So this is the reason that many of the sources in the government are giving right now, and they are saying that this already exists because we are in the digital economy, and there are many digital spaces that have not been covered under any law. So this is probably one of the reasons why they have put this provision and in this new income tax bill. And many of the members, in fact, of the select committee are of the view that such provision already exists. In fact, Economic Investigation Bureau, in fact, uses it time and again when they are investigating any person who is under scrutiny of evading tax or money laundering for that matter.
Okay.
So,
but there are many concerns. Of course, there are concerns that there are certain agencies tasked with national security, and of course which are counter-terror agencies which have perhaps similar access. Whether such an access should be given to the taxman is debatable, and that's perhaps why concerns are being expressed. Bhavtosh Singh, Pragya, thank you so much to both of you for joining us and explaining this to our viewers. Let's now go across to a person who actually highlighted this in the first place. Mohandas Pai is joining us. Thank you so much, sir. And let me begin by asking you, with tax authorities who will now be empowered, if this bill does see light of day, to override digital access codes and access private virtual spaces such as social media accounts and emails, how are you viewing this? Is it, in your view, an excessive expansion of state surveillance, and do you see this as a necessary step to curb tax evasion, or does it also have privacy concerns?
Look, let us understand the importance. There are 9 crore people who pay taxes or file returns. 9 crores. And not all of them are crooks. Maybe 0.001% are crooks. Why are you giving power to the income tax officers and the tax officers for such surveillance and to get so much of data when the track record of the income tax officer is blatantly misuse of the law? There has been tax terrorism for the last 15 years. We have written about it many times. The tax disputes have gone up from 5 lakh crores to 15 lakh crores in the last 11 years. The tax department is not known for treating citizens fairly and correctly. They go to places, they raid them, they intrude upon the house, lock up people for 3 to 5 days, get all the document and harass them. And a lot of it, maybe 50-60% get set aside in appeal in the court. We don't have data as to how many raids they have done, how much they have been successful, and they threaten people when they go for a tax raid to declare some income, and many people do that out of fear. There are record of they are keeping elderly people in the house and locked up. Now this government is giving them draconian powers.
Okay, but Mr. Pai, there's also the question of the Digital Personal Data Protection Act. Doesn't this bill contradict the very principles of data security and privacy when it allows tax authorities unrestricted access to these digital spaces?
Yes. It will intrude upon our privacy, because the Supreme Court has said privacy is a fundamental right. And if you want to intrude upon the privacy, there must be safeguards. And this best safeguard is an order of the court. It happens in America that you have to get a subpoena and get an order of the court to do many things, because the citizens' liberties are very, very sacred. You can't encroach on liberties. You see, what is happening in Delhi is, despite higher compliance, tax collection going up by 20% plus for 3 years, income tax department goes to the finance ministry and tells them that there are many crooks, there are many things happening.
But what, sir, are the legal safeguards in that sense for taxpayers against any kind of misuse of these powers?
I think, look, the first thing is you must go challenge it in court. Challenge the court saying it goes against the constitutional guarantee of the right to privacy, which is a fundamental right, because there are no safeguards built into it. And the safeguard that application of mine has reason to behave, reason to prove and all that is not being used by them properly, because you're giving unbridled power. And we must go to the Supreme Court and say, if they want to exercise this power, let them get a court order. I mean, they can go to a court, apply with all data. I'm sure the court will apply his mind and...
All right, there are some reactions coming in. Let's quickly listen in to this reaction coming in from B.K. Hariprasad of the Congress Party. Thanks so much, Mr. Pai, for joining us.
Is nothing new to Bharatiya Janata Party and especially to Mr. Narendra Modi and Amit Shah. When they were in Gujarat, STF was formed to snoop some of the telephones. After they came to 2014 to Delhi, they were using IT, ED and CBI as their frontal organizations. Now, after harassing most of the people...
Of course, the political charge coming in as well. Quickly get in some of our panelists. Arvind Gupta is with us. He's head of Digital India Foundation. Manish Paryar is political analyst with us. Ravi Srivastava, political analyst, also joining us. We have Kishore Subramanian, financial expert, also with us on the show. Arvind Gupta, let me start with you. Invasion of privacy, perhaps somewhere or the other, there's need to safeguard against that. That's the biggest concern being expressed. Of course, politics apart, in today's digital world, isn't this a fair concern? Arvind.
So, Madhav, number one, I don't think so. I will ever say that privacy should not be protected. We have fought for it for many, many years, and this is something which is true. But I think we are reading it all wrong. What does the bill, and it's still being debated, what is it proposing? That in case there is a scrutiny, which right now they try to get into your cloud servers or are not able to get access to, or your confidentially treated messaging. In case of that, they have to determine certain things. They have the right to do that. This is not a constant surveillance that all the 90 million taxpayers that my friend Mohandas Pai is talking about. Of course not. This is in the case of scrutiny, in the case of evasion, when they have evidence, they will, they could, let's call it could look at other things which are earlier in the form of lockers. Today, there are a lot of digital assets. They could look at, things coming from emails and cloud servers and other things. This is an enabling provision in that case. Two, we also have to understand that in today's digital age, the footprint is being created by citizens themselves. I mean, you heard about that Pani Puni vendor who was doing some 60-70 lakh rupees of UPI transactions and not being even registered in the GST. So when you create footprint, and social media is one such footprint, let me give you this example, and I'm sure my fellow panelists will give me that latitude. I've worked in this space for more than anybody else, and I can tell you, you are the ones giving that information out. You're boasting about doing this, doing that, and then on the contrary, you're claiming that Okay,
let me bring in some of the other counter views, other panelists also here. Ravi Srivastava, it is the digital or the social media footprint that is being accessed, and it's not that every taxpayer is going to be harassed. This is only where there is some kind of evidence pointing towards evasion or some other violation, that in that kind of situation or a problem with Ravi Srivastava's audio, I'm told. Kishore Subramanian, would you like to respond to Arvind Gupta, who says it's only in cases of specific investigation that these powers would be exercised?
Good evening to all my panelists. Let me get to the point straight. See, these are sweeping powers. Under the case of investigation of a taxpayer, let's first understand what's the morality and the right of a taxman to invade into my privacy. Now, if I have done anything which is anti-national, which I have done anything which is scam, which is anything financial irregularity of scale, then that's perfect legitimate for you to sneak peek into my personal email. Now, let me tell you, let's take an example. Let's take an example that the taxman actually scrutinizes my records, and finally, I get to know that I am not at fault. Is there a penalty levied on the government? No. Is there going to be any charge on taken a false case on me? No. Today, if you are sent a notice, and if nothing comes out, you win. Remember, the harassment, the time, everything is waste. But just because 0.1% or 0.2% are crooks, you just cannot sneak peek into everybody's
Let me put that question across to Manish Paryar.
Manish
Paryar, if I'm doing anti-national activities, if I'm doing criminal activities, then go ahead and invade my privacy, says the panelist over here. But just because of that 0.1%, or even if it's 1%, can you, violate the privacy of 99% of the people who, A, may not be violation of the law, and once the privacy is violated, how do you undo it? Manish.
Yeah, good evening, Madhavji, and to the co-panelists. I think you have to understand, Tom, what the government has achieved in last 10 years as far as income tax is concerned. I hope all of you would agree that in last 10 years, income tax is no more a draconian department which once it used to be. So you have to look at the intention of the government, isn't it? Nobody talks about income tax harassment, which was a norm earlier. So I think if you look at the track record of this government, it has been very positive, and as it is being said, for an honest taxpayer, there's never a really one day to worry. Having said that, these are proposals meant for, as the first panelist rightly said, these are meant for special circumstances and for a person who is under investigation. This is not meant for normal people, right? They can just lead their life the way it is, and anyway they would not be concerned. Having said that, this would go to the parliament, and I think the wisdom of the parliament will prevail, and I'm sure about it. Whatever will come out after deliberation, it will be good for the country and for the general people of the country also. Because we need to understand there is a bit of hypocrisy. On one hand, we look for honesty, we look for probity in life, and the moment we find in some kind of a investigation, why is this a fear? I don't understand. This fear should come only to those who hide. Otherwise, you talk to the cross section of the people of this country, they would never have any fear as far as all these things are concerned.
There are fears. The fears are quite real because, once you compromise privacy, there's no putting it back. It's a genie that once you take out of the bottle is very difficult to put back. But your point on parliamentary consultation is well taken. I'm putting that question across to Ravi Srivastava. Ravi Srivastava, why should we not trust the process? Parliament is seized of this matter. Members of parliament are there to debate and discuss these privacy concerns. Let's wait for parliament to look into this matter before we jump to conclusions. Your response to Manish Bariyar.
Good evening, Madhav. First of all, debate and discussion in the parliament is definitely most welcome, because once you debate the things, the other aspects also come out. But as far as the bill in the present form is concerned, it is highly subjective, draconian, and meant to harass people, nothing else. Because what he has seen, you recall Honorable Prime Minister going on camera and saying that digital arrests which are happening across the country, people are being harassed without having any information, and they are being put into digital arrest and the money is taken away from them. And here we are giving a full unbridled power to the income tax people who can do anything. Now, I think Mr. Mohandas Pai raised a very good point, because what we should do, the legal protection here is that let the income tax department first go to the court and produce the evidences that these are the reasons we want to go into the all digital transactions of this person or his assets or all whatever it is. And the honorable court allows it, go ahead and do it. But not without that giving the unlimited powers. You just see, they are not computers alone. People are working in offices. Once you go and see their computer.
Well, this is bound to get controversial, because in the past also various agencies, allegation politically speaking has been that they have been misused. If that is the situation, how will this law, or how will there be safeguards to prevent misuse? All of these are certainly going to be concerns coming in from opposition parties as well. But for the moment, we'll have to leave it there. Arvind Gupta, Manish Bariyar, Ravi Srivastava and Kishore Subramaniam, thank you so much for joining us and presenting our viewers with your points of view on the story. Slipping into a quick break for now.